Before you listen to anything else today, pause for a moment, not because life suddenly became easy, but because something inside you has already started to change. You may not have new answers. Your situation may look exactly the same. The problem may still be there. And yet, your heart does not feel the same anymore. You are calmer in moments that once broke you. You are quieter inside storms that used to overwhelm you. You are still standing where you once felt like collapsing. This message is for the one who keeps saying a dhikr quietly, not to escape pain, but to survive it. Because this dhikr was never meant to change your circumstances first. It was meant to change you. And when you change, everything else begins to lose its power over you. This dhikr does not remove difficulty. It removes inner collapse. When you say Hasbiyallahu la ilaha illa huwa, you are not making a deal with Allah that the pain must end immediately. You are not saying that the test has to disappear or that the situation must change today. What you are really saying is that even if the test stays, even if the difficulty continues, Allah is still enough for you in this moment. That meaning alone changes what is happening inside your heart. Before this dhikr settles, hardship does something dangerous. It makes the heart panic. It tightens the chest. It makes the mind run in circles, jumping from fear to fear, imagining the worst outcomes, replaying the same worries again and again. The problem itself may be heavy, but the real damage comes from how the heart collapses under it. When this dhikr becomes sincere, the problem does not magically disappear, but your inner state starts to change in a quiet way. You still feel the weight, but it no longer crushes you. Your breathing becomes calmer. Your thoughts slow down instead of racing. You stop feeling like everything is about to fall apart at once. The fear loses its grip, even though the situation has not changed. You begin to realize that the pain was never the hardest part. The hardest part was feeling alone inside it. This dhikr removes that loneliness. It reminds your heart that you are not carrying this burden by yourself. It reminds you that Allah is present with you in the struggle, not only at the end of it. The situation stays the same, but you do not fall apart anymore. You are still standing, still functioning, still able to pray, still able to think clearly. That is not weakness leaving you. That is strength entering you. Allah does not always take the weight away, because sometimes the purpose of the test is not to remove the burden, but to build a heart strong enough to carry it without breaking. You stop demanding explanations from Allah. When a test first enters your life, the heart naturally starts asking questions. Why did this happen to me? Why now? Why after I tried so hard? Why when I was finally feeling hopeful? These questions repeat again and again, and each time they repeat, the heart becomes more tired and more restless. The mind keeps searching for answers that were never meant to be given immediately. Before this dhikr becomes steady, the heart feels like it cannot rest unless it understands everything. It feels as if peace depends on knowing the reason, the lesson, the outcome, and the ending. But the truth is that most pain does not come from not knowing. It comes from refusing to accept that some things are hidden for a reason. When you begin repeating Hasbiyallahu la ilaha illa huwa, something changes slowly. You are no longer standing in front of Allah demanding explanations. You are standing before Him, admitting that His knowledge is enough, even when yours is limited. This dhikr teaches the heart that it does not need to understand the plan in order to trust the one who made it. Over time, the questions do not disappear completely, but they lose their urgency. They no longer control your emotions. You stop replaying the same thoughts all night. You stop arguing with Qadr in your head. The heart learns that fighting the unseen only creates exhaustion, not clarity. This dhikr softens the need to know everything right now. It replaces constant questioning with quiet acceptance. You begin to realize that Allah sees the full picture while you only see a small part, and that trusting Him is safer than trying to figure everything out on your own. The heart relaxes because it understands something deeply important. Peace does not come from answers. It comes from surrender. Your emotional reactions lose their power. Before this dhikr becomes consistent, emotions often feel like they are in control of you. One small comment can ruin your mood for hours. One delay can fill your chest with anxiety. One disappointment can make you feel weak, hopeless, or angry. Your reactions happen quickly, and once they start, they feel difficult to stop. The heart moves faster than the mind, and you feel carried away by whatever you are feeling in that moment. As you continue saying Hasbiyallahu la ilaha illa huwa, a quiet strength begins to grow inside you. Your emotions do not disappear, but they stop ruling you. You still feel sadness, frustration, and pain, but they no longer overpower your entire inner world. There is a small pause that appears between what happens and how you respond, and that pause changes everything. You notice that when something upsets you, your heart does not immediately panic. Your body does not tense the same way. Your thoughts do not rush toward fear and worst-case scenarios. Instead, there is a sense of grounding, as if your heart has something solid to lean on. This dhikr reminds you that Allah is greater than the emotion you are feeling, and that reminder brings balance back to your inner state. People may still disappoint you. Situations may still feel unfair. Words may still hurt. But they no longer shake you to your core. You stop reacting from fear and start responding with awareness. You remain present instead of being swept away by emotion. This is not emotional coldness. It is emotional maturity. Over time, you realize that the world did not become easier. You became steadier. Your emotions lost their power not because they disappeared, but because your heart found something stronger than them to rely on. You stop chasing relief from creation. Before this dhikr becomes part of your heart, you often look for relief in people and situations. You wait for a message, a call, a sign, or a change in circumstances to feel okay. You hope someone will understand you, comfort you, or fix what you are carrying inside. When that relief does not come, the heart feels heavy and disappointed, and you feel even more alone than before. As you continue repeating Hasbiyallahu la ilaha illa huwa, this pattern slowly breaks. You begin to see that people were never meant to carry the weight of your heart. Situations were never meant to be your source of peace. Creation is limited, inconsistent, and fragile, and when you place your emotional dependence there, disappointment becomes inevitable. This dhikr gently redirects your reliance. Instead of chasing comfort from others, your heart starts turning toward Allah first. You still appreciate people, and you still value support, but you no longer need it in order to survive emotionally. Your peace stops being tied to how others respond, how quickly things change, or whether outcomes go your way. You notice that when reassurance is delayed or when people fail you, you do not collapse the way you used to. There is an inner steadiness that remains. You are not constantly checking, waiting, or hoping for something outside yourself to calm you down. The heart feels held, even when no one else is there. This dhikr teaches you that Allah was always meant to be your foundation, not your last option. When He becomes enough for you, creation returns to its proper place. You stop chasing relief because you already feel supported from within, and that changes how you move through every situation in your life. Attachment softens without bitterness. Before this dhikr settles in your heart, attachment often feels intense and heavy. You hold tightly to people, plans, and expectations because they feel like your source of safety. You fear losing them, and that fear makes you cling even more. When something begins to slip away, the heart panics, and pain quickly turns into resentment, sadness, or self-blame. As you continue saying Hasbiyallahu la ilaha illa huwa, something gentle happens inside you. Your heart starts to loosen its grip without becoming hard. You still care deeply, but you no longer feel like your happiness depends entirely on who stays or what remains. Love becomes calmer, not desperate. Attachment becomes softer, not fearful. You begin to see things more clearly. You stop romanticizing what drained you. You stop begging for what Allah is quietly removing from your life. Not because you stopped valuing it, but because you trust that Allah sees what you cannot see. The heart learns that letting go does not always mean losing. Sometimes it means being protected. This dhikr removes the bitterness that usually comes with separation or disappointment. Instead of feeling angry or broken, you feel guided. You understand that what was meant to stay will stay, and what leaves was never holding your peace in the first place. There is sadness at times, but it is clean and calm, not destructive. Over time, your heart feels lighter. You love without fear of collapse. You accept without resentment. This is not emotional coldness or detachment from life. It is a heart that is finally anchored in Allah, allowing everything else to come and go without tearing you apart. You return to the present moment. Before this dhikr becomes steady in your heart, your mind is rarely where your body is. You are either replaying the past or worrying about the future. You think about what went wrong, what you should have said, what you lost, or what might still go wrong. Even when you are sitting still, your heart feels restless and peace feels far away. As you continue repeating Hasbiyallahu la ilaha illa huwa, something simple but powerful begins to happen. Your mind slowly returns to where you actually are. You start noticing your breath. You become aware of the moment you are living instead of the fears you are imagining. The noise inside your head softens, and your thoughts stop pulling you in every direction. You begin to understand that anxiety lives in what has not happened yet, and regret lives in what has already passed. This dhikr gently pulls you out of both. It reminds your heart that Allah is with you now, not only in the future you are worried about or the past you cannot change. That awareness brings calm in a way nothing else can. Life does not suddenly become easier or slower, but you stop rushing through it emotionally. You eat without distraction. You walk without tension. You sit without feeling like you should be somewhere else. Even ordinary moments start to feel lighter because your heart is no longer running ahead of your body. This return to the present is healing. It allows your heart to rest from constant fear and endless thinking. You are no longer surviving life on fast forward. You are living it as it is, trusting that Allah is taking care of what has passed and what is still to come, while you remain grounded in the moment He has given you right now. Your definition of success changes. Before this dhikr settles in your heart, success usually means visible results. It means things working out. It means doors opening, problems ending, people understanding you, and life moving forward in a way you can clearly see. When those things do not happen, you feel like you are failing, even if you are trying your best and doing what is right. Your heart becomes tired because it keeps waiting for proof that your effort is worth something. As you continue repeating Hasbiyallahu la ilaha illa huwa, your understanding of success slowly begins to change. You stop measuring your life only by outcomes. You stop deciding your worth based on what has happened and what has not happened yet. Instead, you start noticing quieter signs that Allah is working within you, even when nothing outside has moved. You begin to see that waking up with faith still intact is a form of success. You realize that staying away from sin when no one is watching is success. You recognize that praying while feeling tired, confused, or discouraged is success. These things do not look impressive to the world, but they are heavy in the sight of Allah. Before, you felt pressure to reach a destination as quickly as possible. You wanted answers, clarity, and relief right away. Now, your heart learns patience without feeling stuck. You understand that being steady is more important than being fast. You stop rushing Allah's timing because you trust that what arrives late can still be perfect. You also notice that you are no longer comparing your life to others the same way. Other people may seem ahead, happier, or more settled, but their journey no longer makes you feel small. You realize that everyone is being tested differently, and that Allah's plan for you does not need to resemble anyone else's life to be meaningful. This dhikr teaches you that success is not always about receiving. Sometimes it is about being protected. You begin to see that certain delays saved you from mistakes you were not ready to handle. Certain closed doors kept you from paths that would have harmed your faith or your peace. What once felt like loss now feels like mercy. You stop thinking that success means never struggling. Instead, you understand that struggling while staying connected to Allah is a form of victory. You may feel weak some days, but you do not feel lost. You may feel tired, but you do not feel empty. That inner stability becomes more valuable than any external achievement. Over time, your goals also change. You still work hard and dream, but your heart is no longer desperate. You no longer feel like your life is on hold until something happens. You stop postponing peace. You stop telling yourself that happiness will begin only after a certain outcome appears. You start to value sincerity more than recognition. You care more about intention than applause. You realize that Allah sees effort even when people do not, and that His awareness is enough. This removes a heavy burden from your chest, because you are no longer living to prove yourself to the world. There is also a quiet confidence that grows, not arrogance and not pride, but calm assurance. You know that even if things move slowly, you are moving with Allah. Even if progress is invisible, it is real. You are becoming someone stronger, wiser, and more grounded than before. You begin to understand that real success is not reaching a place where you no longer need Allah. It is reaching a state where you rely on Him fully, whether life feels easy or hard. This realization changes how you view every test, every delay, and every unanswered prayer. The dhikr teaches your heart that peace is not a reward you earn at the end of the journey. Peace is something you carry while walking the path. When that understanding settles, anxiety weakens, because you are no longer waiting for life to begin. You are already living it, with Allah beside you. This new definition of success is quiet, steady, and deeply rooted. It does not depend on applause or proof. It does not rise and fall with circumstances. It stays with you in loss and in ease, in waiting and in receiving. And once your heart understands this, you stop feeling behind in life, because you realize you were never racing anyone to begin with. You realize the change was never meant to begin outside. For a long time, you believed that peace would arrive after something outside of you changed. You thought it would come when the situation improved, when people treated you differently, when answers finally appeared, or when life became easier to understand. Your heart kept waiting for the world to shift so that you could finally feel okay inside. That waiting was exhausting, even when you did not realize it. As this dhikr slowly settled into your heart, a deeper truth began to reveal itself. You started to see that the real change was never meant to begin outside of you. Circumstances were never designed to fix your heart. People were never meant to carry your inner peace. Even relief itself was not meant to be the foundation of your stability. All of that was fragile from the beginning. When you repeat Hasbiyallahu la ilaha illa huwa, you are not trying to control life anymore. You are not trying to force outcomes or rush endings. You are allowing your heart to realign with something unshakable. You begin to notice that while the world remains unpredictable, your inner state no longer moves with the same chaos. Before, every change outside affected you deeply. A delay could ruin your entire day. A word could disturb your sleep. A disappointment could make you question your worth. Your peace was tied to things you could not control, and because of that, peace always felt temporary and fragile. Now something different happens. You realize that Allah never promised a life without tests, but He promised a heart that could survive them. This dhikr slowly teaches you that stability does not come from arranging life perfectly. It comes from anchoring the heart correctly. Once the anchor is placed, the waves lose their power. You begin to understand that many of the things you were praying would change were actually meant to teach you something within yourself. The waiting was shaping your patience. The silence was strengthening your trust. The difficulty was refining your dependence. None of this was random, and none of it was meant to destroy you. As this understanding grows, you stop blaming life for how you feel. You stop resenting people for not fulfilling your expectations. You stop asking why things are not happening fast enough. Instead, you start asking a different question. You ask whether your heart is closer to Allah than it was before. That question brings clarity instead of frustration. You notice that even when nothing changes outwardly, you are no longer the same person inside. You think more calmly. You respond with more restraint. You trust more easily. You recover faster after emotional pain. These are not small changes. They are deep transformations that happen quietly, without announcements. The dhikr teaches you that Allah works from the inside out. He strengthens the heart before He changes the situation. He prepares you internally before He gives you externally. If He were to change everything outside while the heart remained weak, the blessing itself would become another test. Slowly, you stop waiting for life to give you permission to be at peace. You stop telling yourself that happiness will begin later. You stop putting your heart on pause until conditions improve. You realize that Allah is present with you now, not only in the future you are hoping for. This realization is freeing. It releases you from constant tension. It releases you from needing everything to make sense. You no longer feel like you are falling behind in life, because you understand that growth does not always look like progress. Sometimes it looks like patience. Sometimes it looks like restraint. Sometimes it looks like staying connected when nothing feels rewarding. You also begin to see that many people never reach this stage. They spend their lives chasing external change, moving from one solution to another, never realizing that the emptiness they feel cannot be fixed by circumstances alone. This dhikr saves you from that endless cycle. The heart becomes lighter, not because life is lighter, but because you are no longer carrying unnecessary weight. You stop carrying expectations that were never promised. You stop carrying fears that belong to the unseen. You place those things where they belong, with Allah. Eventually, you understand that this dhikr did not come into your life to give you answers. It came to give you grounding. It did not come to remove every hardship. It came to give you the strength to remain whole through them. That is why the change had to begin inside you. Once the heart changes, everything else finds its proper place. Waiting no longer feels like punishment. Silence no longer feels like abandonment. Delay no longer feels like rejection. You trust that Allah is working, even when you cannot see how. This is the deepest gift of this dhikr. It teaches you that peace was never hiding in the future. It was never locked behind a specific outcome. It was always available the moment your heart learned where to rest. And when the heart finally rests with Allah, nothing outside of you has the power to break you the way it once did. Before you move on from this message, let your heart sit with one truth. You were never weak because life felt heavy. You were tired because you were trying to carry everything alone. This dhikr was not given to you to escape reality. It was given to you so reality would no longer crush you. Every time you say Hasbiyallahu la ilaha illa huwa, You are not denying the pain. You are placing it where it belongs. With the one who sees what you cannot see and knows what you do not know. Life may still test you. People may still disappoint you. Answers may still take time. But your heart does not have to break in the waiting anymore. You are not behind. You are not forgotten. You are not being punished. You are being strengthened quietly. So keep returning to this dhikr, not because it changes the world overnight, but because it changes how you stand inside the world. And when your heart learns to stand with Allah, nothing in life has the power to collapse you again.